Teddy Bridgewater has come out of retirement, but will it be enough to beat the 49ers and Vikings? Did you know that a state champion is back in the NFL? That's right. Teddy Bridgewater has decided to come out of retirement and is now bolstering the Detroit Lions, bringing experience and depth to the roster. And what about the historic battle the Lions are about to face for the NFC lead? A decisive matchup is coming that could change everything. Don't miss a single detail of these incredible updates. Hit the like button and join me to find out more. Teddy Bridgewater isn't ready to close the chapter on his NFL career. The former first-round draft pick has decided to step out of retirement and return to the Detroit Lions, the last team he played for before announcing his hiatus in 2023. And no one seems more excited about his return than Jared Goff, the Lions' starting quarterback, who didn't hold back in praising the veteran. He's such a valuable asset to the team. I love having him in the quarterback room. It's great to have him around, Goff said last Thursday via Eric Woodyard of ESPN. Goff even joked, calling Teddy the state champ, referencing the title Bridgewater recently won as the coach of Miami Northwestern High School, where he led the team to the Florida State Championship. Now, Teddy has a chance to chase something even bigger, the Vince Lombardi Trophy. While Goff remains the clear starter in Detroit, Bridgewater's presence provides crucial depth to the Lions QB group, which also includes rookie Hendon Hooker, a former Tennessee standout. Bridgewater's experience is a significant asset, especially with the playoffs on the horizon. At 32 years old, Bridgewater began his NFL career in 2014 with the Minnesota Vikings and earned a Pro Bowl selection the following year after leading the team to an 11-5 record, throwing for 3,231 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions with a 65.3% completion rate. Injuries hindered Teddy from reaching his full potential in the league, but he still played for the New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers, Denver Broncos, and Miami Dolphins before his brief stint with the Lions in 2023. Although he appeared in just one game last season, Bridgewater is familiar with Dan Campbell's system and the team's players, something Detroit clearly values. And it's easy to see why, with the Lions boasting a stellar 13-2 record heading into Week 17 of the 2024 season. Detroit faces the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara this Sunday, before wrapping up the regular season at home against the Minnesota Vikings. Speaking of firepower, the Lions' offense is among the best in the NFL. The team leads the league with an average of 32.9 points per game and ranks second in total yards, accumulating 408.6 yards per contest. With Bridgewater on the bench, they're even better prepared for any scenario. What do you think of Teddy Bridgewater's return? Could he be the difference maker in the season's most critical moments? Share your thoughts in the comments. And speaking of decisions, the next story is even more electrifying. The Detroit Lions are on the brink of making history this season, with the chance to secure the NFC's top spot and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. But it won't be easy. Here's what needs to happen in Week 17. Both the Lions and their division rivals, the Minnesota Vikings, enter the week with a 13-2 record. While the Chiefs have already locked up the top spot in the AFC with a 15-1 campaign, the Lions and Vikings are locked in a fierce battle for the NFC North title and the conference's best record. Everything could culminate in a decisive showdown between these two teams in Week 18 at Ford Field. Here's the scenario. If the Vikings defeat the Green Bay Packers this Sunday, the final regular season game against the Lions will become a de facto championship match. This duel would not only determine the division title, but also who claims the NFC's top seed. Even if the Lions lose to the 49ers this week, they would still hold the tiebreaker over Minnesota thanks to their earlier victory against the Vikings this season. If the Lions beat the Vikings in Week 18, both teams would finish 14-3, but Detroit would win the tiebreaker with a 2-0 head-to-head record. Even if the Eagles also finish 14-3 by winning their final two games against the Cowboys and Giants, the Lions would remain ahead due to their superior record against NFC teams. The only way the Eagles could claim the top spot would be if they win both games while the Lions lose to the 49ers and Vikings, and the Vikings also fall to Green Bay. Now, if the Vikings stumble against the Packers, the Lions could clinch the NFC's top spot and the division title this week by defeating the 49ers, in what should be a relatively easier matchup, as San Francisco is dealing with significant injuries and a disappointing 6-9 season. This means that even if Detroit loses to Minnesota in the final week, their divisional and conference records would still surpass those of the Vikings and Eagles. On the flip side, Green Bay enters Week 17 on a hot streak, winning 5 of their last 6 games, and is looking for revenge after losing to the Vikings in Week 5, a game where Minnesota nearly blew a 28-0 lead. The Packers have extra motivation to spoil the Vikings' chances of winning the NFC North and could even leapfrog them in the standings if they win out and Minnesota stumbles in the final week. If the Vikings defeat the Packers and set up the all-or-nothing game against the Lions, don't expect Detroit to hold back. Even if the game against the 49ers doesn't affect their standing, Dan Campbell has already made it clear that his team will go all out. That means Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Amon-Ra St. Brown will be on the field, aiming to surpass the team that knocked the Lions out of the NFC title race last year. The Lions are in the midst of a magical run, but the pressure is immense. Bridgewater's return is a great insurance policy, but everything will depend on how the team handles this final stretch. Can Dan Campbell and his squad make history? Only time will tell. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the latest updates on your favorite team.